My name is Troy Asmoon, and what I do at ServiceNow is I future-proof our platform through design and experience thinking. There's a lot of things we do in our lives that we sort of accept as they are. You know, there's an old saying that the best you've had is the best you know. And so one of the important things we want to do with our platform is to create something that people didn't know was possible that's much better than the current experience they have set as their expectation. And so that means really thinking about the way that technology and the way people work evolves over time, and setting up our platform experience so that it's ready for the future. So I came to ServiceNow as a product leader. I came here to lead social, mobile, and collaboration and the core platform UI. And my mentality is probably the same as it's always been. But of course, my title now is in design. But I think that to be a great, or get great outcomes with design, you really need to think about why and what's the value. What's the experience going to be like? We've got great technology, but is it going to solve problems? It really is a three-legged stool, and if you've only got one leg or two legs, it's not a stool that most people would want to use. People that made charcoal had to sit in front of the big charcoal pile, and it was a one-legged stool. They had to monitor the charcoal, make sure that it would not combust, that it would charcoal very nicely, and if they fell asleep on the one-legged stool, they'd fall over. But it's a very limited application. You typically want at least three legs to your stool. Don't take the job of the charcoal maker. It's just you have to sit there for like days and just watch the pile. It's not. I don't think it's a fun job. So yeah. Going back to the question, I think the title changes, but the purpose to create a platform that's going to really help people get more things done in less time with less stress, that hasn't changed. That's still the goal. That's still the outcome that I'm always shooting for. Architecture with forethought is crucial to a great outcome. It's synonymous. Let's talk about an amazing supercar, the iconic supercar of supercars. That
I had a weird feeling you were going this way for some reason.
I'm going there. The reason, these are complex products. They've been around for over 100 years. Most people are familiar with them, automobiles. There's design elements. There's evolution over time. So I think there's a lot of interesting parallels, and it's a physical object. So it's a little easier for one to wrap their arms around, figuratively and literally. So when we think about the Lamborghini Countach, there's a designer that's well known that was behind a lot of the design work, Marcello Gandini. But there's also an engineering designer that was key to the success of the project. Paolo Stanzani, I think. What many people don't know is that when the project was greenlighted to make this the supercar of supercars, Gandini moved in to Paolo's house. They lived together. Because you can't have great design without great engineering. It's going to fall apart. You can't possibly create a great platform without great design and great engineering interwoven. I simply don't know how to make a good product without good design. I don't think I want to know. It's just that if we want to get great products and we want to move into the modern age, we can't solely focus on the workflow and the platform architecture. It's got to be easy to use. It's got to feel natural. It's got to be something that regular people can see and within 5 seconds say, oh, this makes my life so much easier. Very early in my career, I worked at Hewlett Packard. I was a test engineer, and we were working on a digital camera. We were competing with Sony, and Sony had a camera. This is a long time ago. Sony had a digital camera. It had power button. It had a, capture button, and it had a 3.5-inch floppy disk. This is true. It went into the side. Okay. And so we were going to have to compete against this. And so, HP being HP, Our camera had like 8 or 9 buttons. One of the first cameras with compact flash had a digital zoom. It had a analog manual zoom, a lot of features, and we got crushed. They outsold us, I think, 20-1. We got crushed, and we did a lot of user research after the fact, and we found out that it was just too hard to use. People just wanted to be able to take photos and store them on their computer, and what's compact flash, and how do I use all these buttons? And that really stuck with me throughout my career, that experience. It's not just about the engineering. It's hugely important. Obviously, you've got nothing without it, but it's not only about engineering. It's also not only about design or only about having all the features, the product features. It's one holistic system to create a great product. I think that Elon Musk did a great job with Tesla. They had a kind of prototype, sort of shed-built car. They got it from Lotus, and then they put an electric motor in it and sort of beta tested that with sports car people, and they learned what they needed on the engineering side from the charging architecture, and then went into mid-upper market with the sedan with broad appeal. Ironed out the kinks by then, and then took that chassis and changed it slightly to make it an SUV and utilized that engine architecture again, and wrapped it in great visual design. It's current without being too polarizing. Really good product thinking there, iterating on the engineering architecture along the way, hitting the right sort of segments that would accept the product given its current maturity curve. And I think that's really good. I think DeWalt is really good. Okay. The tools are all relatively well priced. They've got a good charging system. Again, it's pretty universal. And that's another very clever area. There's only so many machines really that exist in their catalog. They just change the positioning of them or add another drive on them to change what the tool does. So you engineer and do the core design of something once, then you make slight tweaks to create just the right product for each segment. So every customer is like, this is exactly what I wanted, but the cost to scale is exponentially reduced because you're leveraging so much of that core thinking that's behind the product. Just like the two folks that decided to move in together to work on the Lamborghini Countach, they knew what they set out to do. They wanted to make an amazing looking supercar that was the fastest one in the world that everybody wanted. So there's a design element to that, there's a product element to that, and there's obviously, if you're going to get a top speed event better than anybody, there's definitely an engineering element to that. And so having those conversations early on as one sort of collective, and you see I keep bringing product into this, that's because if engineering and design work on something and in isolation, let's say, there's a high likelihood of making something that works really good, that's really cool, that people might not want to buy. That happens. That has happened. Getting alignment early and making sure, checking in often to make sure that everyone's aligned. I think that was one of the secrets of the successful release of our new platform UI. We were very clear on what we set out to do. And when you know what you're setting out to do, it makes it much easier to push away the distractions because you're clear on your vision. We've made a lot of progress. It's all starting to come together. And it's important that we don't get overconfident. I think Andy Grove had said it best, always be paranoid. So we've made lots of progress, but our competitors never sleep. They're making progress too. And the expectations our customers have are forever increasing. The best of yesterday is now expected today. So with the release of our new platform UI, we exceeded expectations, but now that's the expectation. And so just keep pushing forward. I know it looks like there's a long way to go, but we've also made it very far over my time at ServiceNow. We've made it incredibly far. So, just think about the customer and what problems they're trying to solve and how we can help them. And even if we've done the best that's ever been done, tomorrow's a new day and it could always be better.